coming out of this conference, Lisa, I remember you and I already like hearing some things about on the trade wire there, the rumors kind of swirling around, and then sure enough, like leading into draft day, we heard some things get announced, because that trade window was by hours. It was like it closed at like 12 p.m. It was going to open up again during the actual trade event. We heard about Gotham FC making their moves just as that window was closing, how they had traded with San Diego Wave for their 13th overall pick, the number one pick in the second round. So just little things, but we wanted to really focus on some of the biggest trades that took place during draft day, because there were a ton that took place on draft day. We got to see, San Diego Wave and Orlando Pride. Maggie Doherty Howard is heading over to San Diego Wave. Paige Monahan is heading over to Racing Louisville. Lynn Williams, right? That's the big name and one of the big trades coming out on draft day. Lynn Williams to Gotham FC for that number 2 overall pick. Diana Ordonez to Houston Dash. Emily Sonnet to OL Reign. Elise Bennett to OL Reign as well. There were, again, ton of player movement, even just within the league already, but on draft day.
Yeah, I think as you mentioned, leaving the press conference, it was like, all right, like what's happening in the world of trades right now? Because there was definitely some that were a little surprising, right? I think one for me, I love to see Maggie Doherty Howard going to San Diego Wave. This is a 2-year deal for Doherty Howard, running through the 2024 season. She's spent the last 2 seasons with Orlando Pride, but she started with Washington, then went to Orlando, and I think that it's a really, really good grab. Someone that's been at Orlando for the last 2 years, you look at who she'll be playing alongside in San Diego. That's Taylor Korniak in the midfield. That's Alex Morgan up top. I think Doherty Howard adds a lot of depth to that San Diego team. And also Paige Monahan moving from Gotham to Racing Louisville. This was a trade that I was interested to see how this was going to pan out, because that's what happened first before we found out who else would be going to Gotham, because this is Paige Monahan's a player that saw significant time with Gotham in the front line, playing on the wings, contributing a lot. I think it's a good grab for Racing that a player like Monahan can shore up the attack and have a little bit more experience to that Racing Louisville side. But once the draft started, that's when we started to see some other crazy trades happening. And we talked about it a little bit on draft night, but Lynn Williams to Gotham for the 2nd overall pick. This was massive for Kansas City. We saw it. Kansas City wanted that number 2 pick. They wanted to go with sophomore out of Duke, Michelle Cooper, a forward. And this is the price it was going to be. They sent Lynn Williams to Gotham. We look at the Gotham roster now, and I want to talk to you about this, Sandra, about the front line with Midge Purse, Ifeoma Manu, and now you've got Lynn Williams thrown into that mix. Look in the midfield. You've got Christy Mewis. What do you think about this Gotham front line and now seeing Lynn Williams being sent to New Jersey, New York?
Listen, I like the move. I think what you're getting out of Lynn Williams, I think folks seeing the reaction to this trade, I was surprised to sort of see how kind of mixed it was. You're going to find me in the camp of giving Gotham a good grade on their trade day, because I think not only did they add some really good picks, you're talking about getting a United States Women's National Team caliber forward on your team as well. So I think this is great. I think we're also missing Taylor Smith in that equation as well. We're missing Yasmin Ryan in that equation as well. This Yasmin Ryan is a player that they literally
Victoria
just traded for leading up to the draft. So I mean, we have to include her in this draft day equation as well. But just for this actual trade specifically for Lynn Williams, number 2 pick, I thought this was just like, if anything, it just sort of was capping off Gotham's draft day. I think it's a World Cup year, right? So I think that there's going to be some question marks of around that player's availability specifically. There's also, I think, question marks around whether you'll have a Christy Mewis available in 2023, if you'll have a Mitch Purse available in 2023. But I think with the moves that they made, and then and you're including Lynn Williams in this, I think this is a good one. I as soon as I heard it and it was made official, like just hearing the rumors of it, I was like, no way. And then like
I
hearing it
know.
actually come to life, I was like, yeah, this is actually really, really good for Gotham.
I agree. I think it is really great for Gotham. Gotham had a pretty good draft day, right? In terms
Yeah.
of the trades that they got and some of the picks they picked up. But Kansas City, so they lose Lynn Williams. Yes, they get Michelle Cooper in the number 2 draft pick, but they also traded away Elise Bennett
Yeah.
on draft day. This was a rookie last year, forward for Kansas City, that had tremendous growth in just one season in the NWSL. Bennett was incredible to watch. I mean, Kansas City had probably one of the best rookie classes last year in 2022 in the league, and largely due in part to someone like Elise Bennett. Yeah, you look at a Jenna Weinbrunner or an Alex Luera, also out of Kansas City, but Elise Bennett got traded to OL Reign for the 23rd overall pick in the draft from Kansas City, and OL Reign traded $150,000 in allocation money to the Current. So KC, they lose Lynn Williams, they lose Elise Bennett. Those are 2 prolific forwards for that KC side. Now, Lynn Williams didn't play that much in 2022. She only played a handful of games at the start of the season, then suffered an injury. But I think Elise Bennett, that's a loss for KC. That's a huge loss for a player like that. But on the other side, OL Reign to pick up a player like Elise Bennett, that's massive. Imagine what Laura Harvey, head coach at OL Reign, can teach a player like Bennett about the league, about playing alongside Rose Lavelle, Megan Rapinoe, Jess Fishlock. I mean, that's going to be really fun for a young player in Bennett to grow and see herself there. But throughout the trade, I think this was another big one that I heard rumblings of early on before the draft even started. But then Diana Ordonez, forward for North Carolina Courage, gets traded to Houston Dash. This was a trade that at first I was like, whoa, what is North Carolina doing? But I'm going to be honest. I was like, what is North Carolina doing? Why would they lose a player like Diana Ordonez? They've already lost Abinia, and now they lose Ordonez. But Ordonez is from Texas. When North Carolina played at Houston last year, there was like 50 or 60 of Ordonez's family and friends there cheering her on. So I think it's a massive, massive get for Houston. And now we get to see Diana Ordonez alongside Maria Sanchez throughout the World Cup. They're not going anywhere. Alongside Ebony Salmon, Shea Grooms, Sophie Schmidt. Like, Houston is stacking up. They're looking to bolster their roster.
Lisa, this is the winners and losers episode. So yeah, we got to talk about the both sides. Absolutely, Houston's winning in this one. When this trade dropped, I was like, wow, winner, winner right here. Ordonez coming off of a historic rookie of the year season, setting a new record for most goals scored by a rookie player, and now gonna head home to Houston, be able to play in front of friends and family. And you look on the other side of that coin, and that's a big loss for a North Carolina Courage side that has not had a great off season. We talked about how they unfortunately weren't able to retain Dabinia in free agency, and now you're losing a piece that folks are maybe pointing to and saying, you know what, you lost Dabinia. There was always going to be that possibility, but hey, you've got some good young pieces to build around, and one of those young pieces was Dan Ordonez, and here's draft day, and that's not the case. And yeah, we heard about how this was a move that North Carolina Courage made in order to accommodate a player's wishes. And while, people might look at that and say, well, good at North Carolina, I'm moving past that. In 2023, Sandra wants to move past that narrative because we've heard that a lot in years prior in NWSL. We've heard about when there are players who make their request, the club that it was requested from paint themselves as, oh, yes, look at us. We have honored a player's wishes to move them. I'm moving past that. Why is a young player asking for a move this early in her career?
She's ready. Why are you honoring it? Why you better be getting something insane if you're honoring that. I mean, I'm going to be honest. If you look at North Carolina, they are a team that needs to get back on the winning side of things. They won the Challenge Cup, but then they didn't even make the playoffs at the end of last year. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
They
I
had that
would not
late
have let
surge.
Diana Ordonez go, but I think she is such a stellar athlete and player and
Yeah.
goal scorer that I would have held on to her for everything that she's worth.
Yeah, absolutely. I think to close out the night, just when we thought things were settling out, Lisa, this trade actually broke as we were at the draft doing our live show in Philadelphia. Emily Sonnet to OL Reign late in the draft night. We got player to be named, which is something, it's a phrase that they use in light of wanting to ensure that they notify the player involved in the trade. And then very quickly, more reporting that it was possibly Emily Sonnet, and then made official by OL Reign, welcoming her to the squad. So this is another player that they were able to add through their draft trade. So they go from adding in the attack with Elise Bennett to adding in the back line with Emily Sonnet.
This was massive to see Mark Parsons for Washington Spirit sending a player like Emily Sonnet, U.S. women's national team defender. She was with the Spirit for 2 years, helped Spirit lift that NWSL title in 2021, and have her go to OL Reign. 2016, she was the first overall draft pick. This is a player that has a lot of experience internationally along a back line, and she can shore up any back line. And when you look at Washington's roster from last year to this year and heading into a World Cup year, there's going to be a lot of holes throughout July and August when the U.S. and when the World Cup is happening. They're the team in the league that has the most international call-ups, especially for the U.S. Emily Sonnet being one of them. So to kind of send her away, I think that's a big loss for Washington. This is a veteran. After you've already lost Kelly O'Hara to Gotham, you need your back line to be strong and to be tough. Yeah, they've still got Amber Brooks. She's a 10-year veteran, 11-year veteran in the league. Sam Staub, but this is a team or in the back line to lose Emily Sonnet. I think that's a really big loss. Now, OL Reign, on the other hand, they've now picked up Elise Bennett and Emily Sonnet. They're looking pretty happy in the Pacific Northwest right now at this point.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's important to touch on the trades, or the craziest trades that we thought of the day, just because you have to, when we talk about, winners and losers coming out of draft day, I think you gotta incorporate some of the moves and the trades that some of these teams made when you're sort of giving that overall evaluation.